Welcome back to another episode of Life's a Garden. Thank you all for joining me once again. I was thinking about it, and it's been a little while since I opened up an episode starting with a positive message. So I'd like to do that this week, and what I'd like to tell you is live your life for you. And that's not to say don't live for others, because we obviously want to do that as well. We want to help others, we want to encourage others, we want to be there for one another, have each other's backs, of course. But I think in doing that, sometimes we unselfishly don't think about ourselves. And that's not to say you should be selfish, but in reality, the only person that you are with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever, to the rest of your life, is you. And you are the only person that can directly affect your life. Obviously, we have others helping us out as we help others out. But you can't help others until you help yourself as well. You have to be happy and content in your life, and maybe that's what makes you happy, is helping others. You don't know. But what I'm trying to say is, do the things that make you happy. Look yourself in the mirror and say, this is what I want for me. And do that. Whatever that may be. I don't know what your passions are. I don't know what makes you happy. But what I'm trying to encourage you to is to do those things. Live for yourself. Because you're the only one that can directly help you. You have to live with yourself all the time. So why not do just the things that make you happy? And fuck what anybody says. If whatever it is that makes you happy, people look down upon or people tear you down for it, fuck them. Because they don't live your life. They don't know what you go through every day. They don't know what goes on in your head and why this makes you happy. So who cares? As long as it makes you happy, do it. And I'm not trying to say this to sound like you should be selfish or act selfish, but a little selfishness isn't a bad thing. There's limits to everything. We want to be helpful. We want to be a community and be with one another and do all those things, of course, too. But you got to live for yourself as well. So sometimes we need to hear that. Sometimes it gets lost in everything that it's always preached to be unselfish, and that's good. But sometimes you might need to be a little selfish in order to achieve your happiness. So that's all I want to say today. I want to kick the show off with just a little message for you. Maybe that encourages you in some way, shape, or form. But do what you want to do what makes you happy, and fuck anybody who says otherwise. That's what we're going to start it with today. And of course, we're going to get into a whole lot more. We always got fun stuff to talk about, so stick around. Of course, make sure to hit the subscribe button, like, share, rate, review, all that stuff that helps us out here. But let's go ahead and get into today's episode, because it's episode 93 of Life's a Garden. Ooh, yeah! The sun is bright and the power's bitchin'. Welcome back to another episode of Life's a Garden. How about that weather out there, folks? Not today, it's actually raining today. But it's better than snow. And the last couple weeks, oh my god, it's been in the 60s? 50s, 60s? Anything above 0 is good with me. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. No, the weather has legitimately been so good. It's crazy what good weather will do for you. It puts you in such a better mood. And if you know me, you know I hate the cold. I hate the heat. I'm like that Goldilocks kind of guy. I like it just right. Anywhere between 50 and 75, light breeze with the sun out. And I'm A-okay. So being from Montana, I only get a couple of those days a year, really, because it's either 100 degrees and everything's on fire, or it's -0 and you can't step outside for 2 seconds without being miserable cold. So, I enjoy these days as much as I can while I have them. And go figure, last week, it's snowing like a mother. The week that me and my brother go to Denver, the week before that was beautiful. The week after that's beautiful. So fuck me, I guess, right? It just so happened to be snowing right when we went on our trip. But it is what it is. And we're enjoying the weather now. And it's beautiful out. It's lovely. We got the rain, which I like. I actually like rain. I like rain a heck of a lot more than snow. And that's not to say I dislike snow. I just don't love it. It's a lot to deal with. As you see, we got the hot coffee today. No cold coffee. Didn't leave the house yet. So I'm working with what I got, and I got the hot coffee. Update. Ya boy got his taxes finally. His return, whatever. I got my money back. Finally. Remember last week I was telling you I just broke the bank on my Denver trip, and I was thinking I was going to have to go 2 weeks to my next paycheck, just scrimping by, got to pay the bills, but I'm not going to go out, I'm not going to have fun, I'm not going to do all the extra stuff. I wanted to go out, obviously, for St. Patrick's Day, and there's things coming up that I want to do, but I thought I was going to have to just, penny pinch my way to the next paycheck, but oh no, Uncle Sam came through right when your boy needed him. And I got that tax return. So, all good, feeling replenished. Bank account's nice and full of no dents. Something I haven't said in a while, because it was full of dents for a little while. But not anymore. Also, on the money front, guess who won? Another fight bet. I'm telling you, man, I'm getting good at this. This might be my new get-rich-quick scheme, because the casino, the machines, that's whatever. It's a 50-50 gamble. The second you sit down, that's when your luck starts. But with sports betting, you got to have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to that. I tried it with the football, and I'll still do football. But it's so much harder with football because you're dealing with point spread. You got to get the over under or whatever. No, it's a spread. You're playing the spread. So if you don't know what that is, it's you have to win. Your team has to win, and they have to win by a certain amount of points that's determined by the odds makers. So there's so many more variables that go into play with that. You could pick the winners all day. But if you don't do the points, if you don't get the spread, then you lose anyway. It's a whole thing. And then also, you can pick the losing team, but if they're under the spread, then you win that way. So it's a lot more complicated. There's a lot more variables that go into play. But that's how you boost your odds, is by playing I could just pick the straight-up winners, but you have to pick a lot in order to get a high payout, and that's hard to do too. Now with fighting, there's a lot less variables. I feel like if you know fighting, you know the matchups, you know the skill sets, it's a lot easier. I've noticed it, at least. And this is just coming from, I'm not just a casual sports fan. I watch a pretty good amount of sports. And maybe I don't dive into all the variables with football as much as maybe fighting, but I don't really dive into that much on fighting either. As far as fighting goes, it's kind of it just seems like it's more straight up. And the odds don't seem to be as it's not like they really know as much when making the odds, as far as different variables that go into play when it comes to wrestling, when it comes to boxing, all the things that come into play with matchups. Long story short, I did a 4-fight parlay because yesterday or Saturday was the UFC Fight Night in London. So it was a bunch of London or English UK fighters. And I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit because I feel like there was a couple more fighters I could have thrown on the ticket that would have just made the odds even more. I might have cashed out for like 300 or 400. I ended up cashing out for about 150, which is good on a $20 bet. And so just to who did I picked Jack Shore, which I don't really know anything about Jack Shore. I've just heard a lot about him. He was 15-0. He won. Good fight, by the way. Really good fight. My boy Paul Craig. You knew I had to pick Paul Craig. We share a name. He's Scottish. He's like full on Braveheart Scottish. And this guy, there's something about him. He's not really like the stud guy that everyone talks about, but he's a beast. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's won like 5 in a row. I think 6 now. He beat Magomed Ankalaev, who is undefeated. His only loss is to Paul Craig. And he beat the guy on Saturday the same way he beat Ankalaev. He was getting his ass kicked. Paul Craig is getting his ass kicked on his back, and all of a sudden just snaps this wicked hard triangle choke and makes him tap. He literally was on his back getting beat to shit, just throws on this triangle choke, and it's over. That was like the only thing he did, and he beat him because he must have the tightest triangle choke ever because the dude tapped almost immediately. So that was the closest one I had I was like, oh man, like my parlay's busted. This is gonna be over. He got that frickin' submission, and I fell to my knees like, oh my god! It was like a comeback victory, dude. It was so cool. And then I had Paddy Pimblett, another one that was getting his ass kicked and just snapped on a submission and won. It wasn't his best performance, but he won. And then I had Arnold Allen over Dan Hooker, who I like. I like Dan Hooker a lot. I've won money off Dan Hooker before, too. See, and that's the thing, too. With fighting, I don't know how many bets I've had, but let's just go ahead and say out of 10 bets, I'm pretty sure I've won at least 5. I've won half of the bets I've made. Like I said, it might not be 10, but whatever it is, I think I've at least won half, which the payout versus what I've spent is way more. So I've made more money even on the ones that I've lost over the time. And then, I don't even think I mentioned this, a couple weeks ago, I had on the Colby Covington fight, Colby Covington versus Masvidal, I didn't bet on those fights because the odds were just so, it wasn't worth it. I think $20 would have paid out for maybe 60 on a 3-fight parlay because the odds were just so crazily on all the fighters I wanted. And I would have won because all the fighters I would have picked won, but it wouldn't have been really that worth it. But somebody at the bar just goes, I got $50 on Masvidal, whoever wants to take it. And I was like, well, Colby's definitely going to win this fight. So I was like, I'll take that bet. And your boy walked away with $50 in his pocket. Now, that's like I said, that's about the same as what I would have made if I had bet. But that was on just one fight. The odds were not there for that one fight. I mean, I put 50 down on the line, but didn't have to pay it. So yeah, the money's been looking pretty good lately. So we're just gonna keep coasting with that and see what happens. See, now that's the thing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I was discouraged about the money I'd spent in Denver, but I kept a positive attitude. Remember I said, even though my funds weren't looking good because I was banking on getting that tax return, I didn't let that affect my ability to have fun in Denver. I didn't let that cripple my spending habits as much. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not like I would have. And look because I knew I was going to get that relief. I was going to get my return eventually. So I kept a positive mindset. And look what happens, man. When you keep a positive mindset, good things happen for you. I swear to you, if like even if I would have been like stressed out and like just avoiding having fun to avoid spending money, and like that in turn would have put me in a bad mood because I wasn't having fun, then either the return wouldn't have came because that's just how luck happens, or the return still would have came, and I would have felt bad even still about it. Because I would have realized, oh, you idiot. I would have looked in hindsight and said, man, see, you could have just had the fun. So you got to stay positive in the moment because good things will happen. And then sometimes you get lucky on a fight bet. And that's all good too. So the positivity... Wait. What do we always say on this show? What do I always preach? Positivity radiates positivity. So, like I say, man, you keep positive vibes and positive comes back to you. And that's how it happens, man. That's how it happens. I'm telling you. In other sports news, we got March Madness going on. Another thing I put $10 in on a bracket. Winner take all. Not looking so hot for me right now. Gonzaga. I picked Gonzaga to win. They're still in it. But I've had a lot of my teams get popped out. I'm kind of in the middle. We'll see what today or what this weekend brings. We'll see what how it all shakes out in the end. But so far, not looking too hot for me on that. Never know though. Could come back. It all depends on if your Final Four make it there. I don't remember who I think I have Gonzaga and Purdue, maybe, if that sounds right. Gonzaga, Purdue, I'm not sure. I could look it up actually. But then I have Arizona going to the championship in both of them. And if I had to guess, I would say... See, this is my free one that I'm doing with just my friends. So let's see who I have in the Final Four of this one. I know I have Gonzaga. Ooh, I'm in the lead right now, baby boy. Oh, baby boy. What happened? There must have been some shakeup. Ooh, I had UCLA. That was a good one. See, St. Peter's. Okay, St. Peter's, dude. Is that what they are? They're the Peacocks? The St. Peter's Peacocks? Not only did they beat UK, University of Kentucky, they beat Murray State, which isn't that crazy, but they're the 15 seed, and they're going to the Sweet 16. Are you crazy, bro? So who are they going to play? They're either going to play Purdue or Texas, who plays tonight. And I think I have Purdue going. Yeah, I have Purdue going to the next round. But that's good. They're playing a 15 seed if they go on, so I need that one. Oh, I had Houston. That was a good one. That was a good upset. I had Houston over Illinois. Michigan went on ahead. Kansas. Ooh, you know what? It might be Kansas that I have going to the distance. To the Final Four. Where did I have Purdue? I don't remember. Okay, so let's look. Let's see what I got in the Final Four. On this one, the Final Four, I have Gonzaga. I have Gonzaga, UCLA, which could happen. And then I have Arizona and Kansas, which also could happen in this league. So that's pretty good. Let's see what I got in my other league. See, this is the one where there's like 15 people in it. And I'm 5th! I'm number 5 right now, boy. Tied for 5th for like 3 people. But I'm still up in there. Big Sean, man. Look at Big Sean getting up there. See, this is why it really comes down to how many of your teams go far. See, I got Arkansas moving forward. That was good. We got some good games tonight, man. Michigan State, Duke. Baylor, man. Baylor really... North Carolina with the upset on Baylor. That was good. Got UCLA going forward. Houston, that was good. Yeah, who would have thought Michigan, man? That's a good... They're good, man. This is why I don't really know college basketball, man. Like, I should have known they were going to be good. Ooh, I had Providence going forward. That was a... Did I? Oh, no, I didn't. I had Iowa, which is dumb. Oh, you know what? I think I have Auburn going to the... Okay, let's see. So in this one, I have in the Final Four... Yep, I have Gonzaga versus Purdue. So I did different, which is, I mean, that's good, because at least maybe one of my brackets will do well, if that's the case. Yeah, I have Gonzaga versus Purdue in the Final Four. And then I have Arizona versus Auburn, which is, that's might be a stretch, but that's the big one. So if Auburn can pull it off, man, that's I don't know that too many people would have that. So let's see who they playing tonight. Auburn plays Miami. That they should be able to win that, I would think. You never know, man. When it comes to March Madness, there's already been some big upsets. So that's my bracket. We'll see what happens. I've already boosted up to a lot higher than I thought I would. So that's cool. And then let's round off the sports talk here real quick. I told you last week we were going to talk more NFL free agency, and of course we're gonna, because there have been some moves, as we knew there would be. You know, there's always big moves. Let me just start with this, because pretty much all the big moves are happening in the AFC West. The AFC West, last year I said the AFC West was the toughest division in the NFL, and now there is absolutely, unquestionably, no doubt that the AFC West is the best division in football. Quarterbacks alone: Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, and now Russell Wilson. The Chargers went out and got J.C. Jackson, the number one corner in free agency. They traded for Khalil Mack, so now you got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack pass rushers. Every team has a pass rushing duo. Broncos went out and got Randy Gregory from the Cowboys. So, funny story with him. Randy Gregory was initially going to sign with the Cowboys again, and then backed out last minute and signed with the Broncos for the same deal. Gregory has a little bit of a history with him, but I'm fully on board with George Payton and the things he's doing. So I trust the process with him. So we got Bradley Chubb, we got Randy Gregory, and then we also have Malik Reed, who is an underrated pass rusher. Hopefully he stays. We did re-sign him, but he can still opt to sign with somebody else. Then the Raiders signed Chandler Jones. And they all have Max Crosby, great duo. The Chiefs might have the worst duo out of all of them. I mean, they still have Melvin Ingram. They have I can't even think of his name. I know Chris Jones. I don't know. But fuck the Chiefs anyway. We already know the Chiefs suck. And I'm telling you right now, there is a high possibility the Chiefs could be the third or fourth team in the division. Now that sounds crazy, I know. Let's just wait and see. And I'm making the bold prediction right now that the Chiefs will be either the third or fourth team in the AFC West. I'm saying it right now, because that defense isn't going to be able to handle what's getting thrown at them this year. They're already going to have to play the toughest teams because they were the number one seed or the number one team in the division. So they already get the toughest matchups. I'm just saying. Wait and see. But anyway, and how about the Raiders trading for Davante Adams? Now, I've had to really think about this Davante Adams thing, because I've been told that Adams refused to sign with the team. He wanted to go elsewhere, so they traded him. The Raiders is a good spot for him because him and Derek Carr they played in high school or college. College. They played in college together, so they have chemistry already. So the fact that Derek Carr didn't want to be there, or not Derek Carr, Davante Adams didn't want to be there, that says a lot, mostly about the organization of the Packers. But for me personally, it says a lot about Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams didn't want to stay with the best quarterback in football. Now, it also tells me that Rodgers is in it for the money, really. Because there was reports that said Rodgers knew when he signed the contract with the Packers that Adams was to be traded. So he knew that going into the signing. That gives me a whole different perspective on Aaron Rodgers, honestly, because if you're willing to sign that contract knowing that your number one target, your best wide receiver, is going to be traded, the number one wide receiver in the NFL, most likely, is going to be traded, and you're still like, yeah, I'll still sign with you guys because you're going to give me $50 million a year, tells me it's all about the money for old Rodgers. Because now he has, there's no weapons there. Tanyan is gone. So they got Alan Lazard, and then Valdez-Scantling, they haven't even re-signed him. So, okay, maybe they go out and draft somebody. What's that going to do for you, dude? Rodgers is only going to be there for three or four more years, maybe. You're going to build a whole chemistry with a guy in that short of a time? A young talent? No. Why would you not stick with the guy you know, who you have chemistry with? So that tells me Rodgers, he doesn't give a fuck about winning. He just wants the money. And maybe I'm out of line on that. But that's where I stand. And just the fact alone that Adams wanted to leave, knowing that Rodgers might be coming back, says a lot about Rodgers too. I don't know what their relationship is like. I don't know what happens behind closed doors or in the locker room. But it kind of tells me, look, the Packers went to they were the number one seed. And the Raiders barely made the playoffs. So for Davante Adams to say, I know, based on last year, that the Packers can get to the playoffs, I'm gonna leave that team who has proven year in, year again that they can get to the playoffs. We have the reigning two-time MVP, or back-to-back MVP. I'm going to leave them and go to the toughest division in football and play with a team that barely made the playoffs in the toughest division. That kind of says a lot about what Adams feels about not only the Packers organization, but Aaron Rodgers. There's something to be said there, if you ask me. So that Adams trade really made me think a lot more about Rodgers as a person and a player and a teammate. That's just me. Maybe I'm out of line, but that's just my thoughts. Let's see. What else happened in free agency? As far as Broncos free agency goes, I think I kind of just covered all the big ones. We've signed a few little ones here and there. They did restructure some contracts in order to open up more cap space. I think we're going to make some more moves. I think we're going to re-sign Kareem Jackson. I think we're going to re-sign Bryce Callahan. And I think we go out and get right tackle. I don't know who yet. Maybe Lael Collins. Maybe that Kelly guy from Tennessee. So that's as far as I know on that front. Oh, dude. My boy Von Miller, man. Congratulations to him, dude. I really was hopeful that we might bring him back. Once we had signed Gregory, I knew it probably wasn't going to happen because they're the same position. You're not going to pay two guys that much money to in the same position when you still have Bradley Chubb. So once we signed Gregory, I kind of knew that wasn't going to happen, and I figured Vaughn would just re-sign with the Rams. Then I see signs a 6-year deal for $120 million with the Bills. The number that sticks out to me is 6 years. I personally don't think Vaughn will play that full amount. I hope he does. I love the guy. He's still a stud. They had him ranked as the third best free agent this year, so that says a lot alone. And I don't know. I'm more than happy for the guy. There was rumors he was possibly going to go to the Cowboys. He's from Texas. They obviously lost Gregory, so maybe they would pick him up. They weren't going to pay him that amount of money, though. And the fact that he goes to the Bills, I'm way okay with that because I have a little bit of a soft spot for the Bills. they're just one of those teams that, I don't hate. I really like Josh Allen. So for him to go to them and make those bags, dude, go for it. There was no way the Broncos were going to pay him that amount of money. So even if we tried to sign him, he would have signed with the Bills anyway because they were going to offer him more money. Between the Gregory and Vaughn, I think we still ended up with the better deal because Vaughn's older, and this is with absolute admiration and love for Von Miller. Vaughn's older. He has been injury prone the last few years. Gregory's had his issues off the field with like substances and stuff like that, but we're banking on a redemption story from him that he's going to be good to go. He's not going to have any more troubles. He'll be on the field. And I think Gregory's had some injury issues as well. But he's younger. I think we signed him to a 5-year deal, so we still get him for a long time at a much smaller price. Pretty sure his deal averages out to about 17 a year, where Vaughn's will average to more like 20. Now, $3 million, you're thinking, that's a small margin. Not really, though. When you're thinking $3 million a year, that's multiple players you could be signing with that $3 million extra. So it's a better deal all around, I think, for the Broncos. It's all going to come down to performance, though. Obviously, it doesn't matter unless Gregory performs. We already know Vaughn is capable of performing. All in all, I'm very happy for Vaughn. Get them bags. He's going to a team I don't hate. But that was a huge signing. I can't even believe the Bills paid out that much. Like, I didn't think Vaughn, and I mean this in all due respect, I didn't think Vaughn was worth that much money anymore. But like I said too, good for him, man. I only want the best for him. He's my boy, so get them bags. Let's see. Other big sign. Oh, the Titans released Julio Jones. Be interesting to see where he ends up. They traded for Robert Woods, which is a good trade because they needed another wide receiver. Oh, and also, forgot to say this, the Rams picked up Allen Robinson, probably one of the best wide receivers in free agency because the rich just get richer, And then they trade Robert Woods, which is a good trade for them. Now they have Kupp and Allen Robinson. The Chiefs picked up, what's his name? Juju Smith-Schuster. They picked up Juju Smith-Schuster, who I'm not that worried about. Like, I think he's kind of not what he used to be. I don't think he's going to be as big for them as they think he's going to be. Yeah, so we'll see how that works out. Tyrann, there's a lot of big names still out there, though. Tyrann Mathieu. Forgot Deshaun Watson. There was talk that Deshaun Watson might be getting traded to the Browns. Baker Mayfield still up in the air. Don't know what's going to happen with him. Trubisky going to go to the Steelers. So a lot of big moves. I'm not going to just spend so much time on every single one of them, but it's always fun to see the dominoes fall, see where everybody ends up. And so we'll kind of just keep on seeing where this train leads us, and just go. Yeah, I love free agency. I said it last week. I love free agency. Of all the things that I nerd out about, there's two things. There's two things that I ultra nerd out about. Number one overall is sports in general. Sports in general. And number two is like Marvel and just superheroes in general. And I'm counting Dragon Ball Z in that as well. So yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's where I'll end it with as far as the sports talk and as far as NFL free agency. Just a lot of big moves. AFC West is going to be crazy good. I wouldn't be shocked if all four teams make the playoffs now that we got 3 wild cards in the playoffs. It's really hard to do, though, when everybody has to play each other in the division. The only way I think it would ever happen is if everybody split games. But those are going to be the crucial games, is to see how those head-to-heads match up. That's kind of the key. And like I said, I'm making the bold statement right now. Chiefs, they're going to be in the middle of the pack this next year. I don't think their defense is going to be up to par. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to take I think people are figuring him out. And I don't think it's going to be as tough as people think, as it has been. So that's my bold statement, my early bold statement, and we'll see what happens. Go Broncos. We got that Russ Wilson, and I'm going to be sporting that jersey very, very soon. Sorry about the little cut there. I had to take a little pee break. So we're back at it. Let me go ahead and tell you about my St. Patrick's Day. So, now, you would assume I'd have some grandiose story, something, wild happened. The Irish out during the Irish holiday. I was going to get crazy. I was going to get wild. It was going to be a blast. Well, I hate to disappoint, but my St. Patrick's Day went a little bit differently than I had anticipated. So, I did go out. Went out for went to Hooligans. It was busy as shit, so didn't even really get to do anything there. Ended up over at the Crystal for a little while. It was kind of slow. Just enjoyed some drinks. And ultimately, well, first of all, let me just say this. I was already kind of tired because I had gone out the night before for a friend's birthday. So, I was already a little exhausted. And I ended up cutting the night short. And without being overly vulgar, I'll just straight up tell you and be honest with you. I cut the night short to get laid. Okay? Sometimes we do this. It's, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? The opportunity to get laid was there, and I took it. Okay? So, I cut my St. Patrick's Day short to get laid. And that's what I did. And that's what I did. And now, let me just say this. First of all, it was good. All that was fine. That was fine and dandy. But I couldn't help myself and just think that. So the next day, when I got up the next morning, went to work, felt fine because I wasn't hungover as shit like I should have probably been. But I felt great. However, I couldn't help but shake this feeling like I didn't get the fulfillment that I wanted in St. Patrick's Day. I kind of felt like I missed out. You know what I mean? I felt like now this was my decision, okay? And so I'm here I am kicking myself thinking, "Damn. You really let me just say this. One of my favorite holidays, right? You know this if you're a listener. You know that St. Patrick's Day, I love it. And I made the decision to basically not have St. Patrick's Day and just kind of said fuck it to that so that I could for fucking. I said fuck it for fucking. And St. Patrick's Day really quickly turned into St. Pussy's Day. So, yeah. So I'm sitting there kind of just feeling like, damn, I traded St. Patrick's Day for some puss. And there was a part of me, which this sounds crazy, okay? This sounds absolutely crazy to think that I had regrets, and I don't mean that in a bad way, okay? I shouldn't say that, I don't mean that, like, I regretted her, but it was more like, I just regretted the decision of choosing to get laid, which sounds crazy. You know, like, what guy would say that? Where it's like, I mean, I'm sure there's dudes out there that don't get laid as often that are like, are you nuts? Take the opportunity when it's given to you. Well, here's the thing. I think I've actually this is why it sounds kind of crazy, but because, like I said, I've said this before, most dudes are just animals, and they'll chomp at the bit any opportunity they get. Maybe it's just where I'm at in life, but I think I've reached the point where I don't prioritize pussy over everything else. That's how, like, I'm dead serious. Most dudes operate that way, where it's like, dude, any chance I get, if pussy's involved, fuck everything else. That's the priority. And I get it, because I've been there. And I don't think I'm there anymore. And who knows? Maybe that's just the mood I was in. I was tired, like I said. So maybe that was just that. But in retrospect, I thought to myself, God, I wish I would have gone and just done the St. Patrick's Day that I had already kind of planned. And where am I trying to go with this? It was like the 40-year-old virgin. You put the pussy on a pedestal, pussalia. And this goes both ways with men and women, okay? Here's what I'll say. So this is a two-parter, okay? This is a two-parter. For men and women, I would tell you that sex isn't always worth it, you know? Like, sometimes it gets that way. And I know, like I said, I've been there. I've been the guy that's like that's the end game. That's the goal. Just get into bed, like, no, at all cost. And maybe that's just me and my age. Maybe that's just me, how I felt that night. But sometimes it's not always worth it. Sometimes you miss out on other things in the pursuit of getting laid. This goes for both men and women. Sometimes it just isn't as worth it. Because I've been laid before. Like, I know it. It's not, you know, it's not as exciting, I think, sometimes as it used to be. And maybe that's just also, it depends on the person, it depends on the situation. There's a lot of variables that go into play, I'm sure. And to anybody who's a virgin out there or doesn't get laid that often, unlike your boy, have at it, dude. I get it. Ditch your friends, ditch your plans, get into bed. Just these are jokes, okay? These are half of what I'm saying here is jokes. Dickalia, pussalia. Don't put the pussy on the pedestal. Don't put the dick on the pedestal. Don't make it everything. That's part one. Now, there is a part two to this. Sometimes you can also have your cake and eat it too. I would invert the cake analogy to something else, but I'm not going to go there. You can do that yourself. You can put it in your own mind. You can have your cake and eat it too. Because during the day, I thought to myself, man, I have to wait a whole nother year to get that experience, to do the St. Patrick's Day thing. And I did the same thing on New Year's, and I kind of like felt like I missed out my New Year's plans for something else. But with I just kept thinking to myself, man, like, I really missed my opportunity there, and now I got to wait a whole nother year. And then I stopped with the negativity. I stopped feeling bad about myself. I stopped feeling bad about the situation, and I said, you know what? Fuck that. We get redemption. I'm just going to go out tonight. This was Friday. I was like, I'm going to go out tonight and just have my fun then. I mean, it's not going to necessarily be the same because you're not having the mass crowds of people, which, by the way, I don't really care about because I don't love mass crowds. But it's like, I'll just go out and have my own St. Patrick's Day by myself. Or you know, just I'll celebrate my own way. And I did. and I had a lot of fun. So that's the other thing that I'm going to say. That's the other message I want to say in a part 1, part 2. 1, don't put the pussy on the pedestal. 2, no matter what situation you're put in, if you have any sort of regret, now this is going to be a broad spectrum, you know what I mean? No matter what, you can always redeem it, because just do it your way. Oh, you missed out on an event? Make your own event. I mean, obviously there's, like I said, variables to so many of these things. You missed, hell, like, even if you miss like a big life event, like you miss somebody's wedding and you feel bad about that. Well, hey, you can just take them out to dinner sometime and celebrate with them. It's not always the same. You're never going to get the full experience in some ways, but you can get a part of the experience. You know what I mean? Like, I still got to go out and have green beer. I still got to go out and just hang out with people and enjoy my time. I got to do it all, and it was fun as shit. You can always redeem it. And these are, that's what I'll say. If you miss out, make up for it. Redeem yourself and just go do whatever it is that you wanted to do and do it later. Maybe not the next day, maybe a couple weeks or a month or however long, redeem it. And even if even if you do have to wait that full year, you can redeem yourself then. I'm an instant satisfaction type of guy. I like to, I don't want to wait. So I went out the next day and I got what I wanted, because that comes full circle to what I said in the beginning. Live for yourself. Do what you want to do. I wanted to get that St. Patrick's Day experience, so I did. I went out and I did it anyway. Boom, baby. Live for yourself, and happiness is still, it just flows, So that's another little message for you there today. Yeah. And while I'm on the subject, because not really a subject that gets brought up a lot anyway, for at least on this show, keeping with the sex topic, there's something else I want to talk about, because it seems to be the thing that so many people are talking about, and very rarely do I talk about something that I know very little about. Typically on this show, I'll talk about things that I'm at least somewhat aware of or well-versed in, or have some frame of reference to talk about. And this is not one of those things. But I guess I should say I know what other people have said, so I'm just going to go off of that. This show, Euphoria. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you've seen at least or heard people talk about it, because it's all the rave. It's what everybody's talking about. Euphoria. They're acting like this show is the newest Sopranos. Now, if you know what I've said in the past, I think HBO makes some of the greatest series out there. And because I haven't seen this show, it's still hard for me to judge it. I could probably go as far as to say it's not The Sopranos, based on what I can gather of the material. Essentially, what I understand this show to be is the tellings or the recreations of what modern teenage life is like in some facet, dealing with a lot of it's very sexually explicit is basically the point. That's kind of the whole, that's why I even looped it in with the sex stuff, because it's about these young girls doing OnlyFans and popping their puss on OnlyFans, and it's about just hooking up with people. And it's about, if at some point I think there's an older guy hooking up with, I think there's molestation stuff in there. There's transgender issues. There's like gay and straight and things like that. Just all this, just all these different, like things that kids or like teenagers deal with, and it seems to be very based around sex, from what I understand. A lot of dick slinging, a lot of pussy popping, and the other thing is so this is where things get kind of weird to me in this. So these actors, who are obviously of age, are portraying kids who are assumed by me to be under 18. They're supposed to be like 15, 16, 17 years old. They're in high school, so that's obviously the age range, right? And they're like getting, like, it's all about sex, it's all about nudity. Like, there's a lot of nudity involved. And does that not seem weird to anybody else, where it's like these people are portraying younger humans and it's just all this sex stuff? And so if I'm the viewer watching, I'm supposed to look at this person like a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old, and then I'm seeing her tits. That doesn't strike you as kind of weird? You're not telling me there's not 40-year-old dudes sitting there watching this and beating their dicks to these like hot, like, supposed to be teenagers? Is that not... That comes off to me as very, very weird. You know, that's a little disturbing in ways. And the fact that it's assumed that all these... that, like, today's youth, today's teenagers, today's high schoolers, like, it's just all sex. I'm not saying that's wrong. Or not... Yeah, I'm not saying that's incorrect. That's what I meant to say. I'm not saying that's incorrect. But that's saying that we as a society have become just so overly sexual, and like that's where I'm like wondering, is that good or is that not so good? Because I've been like trying to think about this, and I've kind of been almost struggling with it in a way, because to an extent I agree that the taboo of sex and the taboo of like it's a little overkill sometimes, where like, yes, you should be free to express your sexuality, your desires, your this and that. It shouldn't be like so taboo, you know? Because, I mean, we could go back to the 20s or the 1800s where it's like, oh, you couldn't even show a little leg. But at the same time, there is an extent where it becomes too much. I definitely would say there is a porn epidemic. I think there's people who are literally addicted to sex and porn, and that's not good. I think the over-sexualization of youth and people has increased the amount of pedophilia and the amount of perverts because it's so readily available. I mean, I'm not saying that they wouldn't already be there, but I think it aggravates that to a heightened level, where the internet, you got OnlyFans, like that's just it too. It's like, oh, now we're like encouraging these young people to just like be porn stars. Like, I don't know that that's good or bad. I've said in the past, like, I do what you got to do. Be a stripper, be a OnlyFans person, whatever you got to do to make that cash. Fuck it, like, do it, I guess. But I don't know that that's necessarily good. Is it better to promote popping your pussy on OnlyFans? Or is it better to promote, like, trying to be a CEO? At the same time, you could argue with me and say, you are being a CEO. You're owning your content, and you're making money doing it. So that's where I'm like, my mind just, like, breaks. That's where I'm like, I can't tell if it's better to promote the sexualization of everything and to be less, and to be more open about it, to be more like, make it less taboo. I don't know. That's a great debate. That's a great conversation to have, and I don't have an answer. But like with this show, it's just amplifying this idea that it's like we live in a sexual society, and I don't know if that's good or bad. But if that's not how I remember high school when I was in high school, and that was only 10 years ago. And that's not my recollection of high school. Was just like, it's all about sex. Then again, I didn't have sex till later in life, but I wasn't doing drugs. Like, it's harder for me as a perspective because I didn't live that life. So maybe my opinion doesn't matter in this. I don't think it's good. I don't think that as a youth being exposed to all this sexual nature, drugs, things of that nature, I don't know that it's good for you. I think it kind of demoralizes and desensitizes at that age. Like, those are learning ages. I think it really would desensitize you moving forward into your adulthood. So, I don't know. You make your own opinions, I guess. But those are my thoughts. So yeah, got a little sexual this week, huh? Got a little sex talk, you know? You remember that show? There used to be a show called Sex Talk. I think it was on it might have been on the Oxygen channel. And it was this old woman. It used to come on late at night. And it was this old woman taking phone calls about, like, sexual questions. And she'd, like, talk about dildos and shit. It was weird. Because, like, you see the title Sex Talk on the TV guide, and you're like, ooh, what's this? When you're a kid. And you turn on some old bag talking about fucking. I'm like, what is this? So then I'd wait till 2 a.m. for the 2 a.m. on Spike TV. You got to wait for the Girls Gone Wild infomercial. That was what you waited for. But yeah, had a little sex talk today. But we also, you balance it out with the goofiness. We have some fun. We be funny. We be silly. We talk to sex and then we talk to silly. So, hey, we're sexing the silly, baby. Sarah Jessica Parker, we ain't got nothing on you. Sexing the silly. And that's what we be sometimes. Not sometimes, just today. Because I don't do the sex talk a lot. Because I'm not society where I'm just going to push it out into the ether at all cost. But that's all I'll say about it. And let's round it off with a little something. I guess we could kind of mold this into the same thing. I just wanted to send a big congratulations to my friend Mac and his wife Savannah, my friend Savannah. They had their first baby, and the way they had that baby was they also had sex. But that's how we're going to loop it in. A weird way to loop it in, but that's how we're going to do it. Anyway, no, congratulations to them. Baby Amara Anderson. I got to go last night and see her. I saw her once before, but she's super tiny. And it's weird to see babies when they're that little, you know? I don't know that I've ever really known somebody this close that had a baby, at least in my adult life. So it's interesting to like watch the process and kind of like just realize that we as humans are so vulnerable as babies. Like your parents really, like, you rely on them to make sure you live for the first like 4 years of your life. I mean, even after that, you know, pretty much up until you're 18. But it's like you can do nothing. When you're a fucking deer, deers come out walking. They walk out of their mom's pussies. But humans, man, you gotta fucking watch over them 24 hours a day. Because if an eagle swoops by, they're just going to take that baby and fly away with it. Like, there's nothing it can do. It can't defend itself. It can't feed itself. It can do nothing. We have evolved into these creatures that, I mean, I assume humans have always been this way. I don't know. Baby chimps, are they that way? I don't think so. It's like, it's crazy just to see, like, the vulnerability of humans as babies. But ultimately, just want to say congratulations to them on their new baby. Very beautiful baby. And she's still at the beginning stage where she's, obviously she's brand new. She's only a few days old. But I'm excited to see when she gets to that age of, like, her features to start to come out. You can start seeing, like, the person she's going to be, her, like, I don't know, when they fill out, because they're just little. I feel like personally all, like, newborn babies kind of look the same in a sense. There's, like, a general look to them. I like to see when they, like, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, you start seeing just little features that they come, like, you start seeing, oh, this is where she looks like her mom, this is where she looks like her dad, type of thing like that. And, like, starts interacting more, like, noticing you, seeing when you're, you know, they recognize that you're there. So I'm excited for that and to kind of be a part of that as they're doing it. Hopefully I myself don't get baby fever, because I don't know that I'm ready for that. So yeah, we'll close the show with that, basically. We'll close it with saying congratulations to Mac and Savannah on being new parents. I will say this as well. I saw a picture of Mac holding his baby, and it's pretty wild to me when I think about how quickly you change, like how quickly a child changes you, because immediately, just upon looking at him in just one still picture, holding his child, the way he was looking at the child, the way, just personally knowing that was his kid, it's like I looked at him completely different. Like he was like immediately a different person. Not in a bad way, but just like there's, you know, he's different now. You have to be. Child changes you forever. Like, it's a whole new world, a whole new life that you have to live when you add a child to the world, into your life. So I just wanted to say that as well. Like, it was interesting to see him and be like, wow, like I can just immediately see a difference. But yeah, we'll close it with all that. Live for yourself. You know you can redeem yourself at any cost, but do what you want to do. Have fun in life. Whatever makes you happy, go for it. Don't put the pussy on the pedestal. Don't put the cock on the pedestal, because it's not everything. No matter what society tells you, no matter how much sexualized everything has become, it's really not everything in life. I mean, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but it's really not everything. Don't make it everything. That's all I'll say. And with everything else, just know, in the end, life's a garden. Dig it.